look, it's an interview. You don't just answer different questions.
Clear. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking.
And you said, well, I'm worried about some laws Congress should pass. I've asked, what laws are you talking about?
I'm sorry, I'm very nervous, but
Today we are going through examples of crazy woke people getting brutally destroyed, starting with Elon Musk. During his Bill Maher interview, Elon was asked about the so-called woke virus. He gets asked why he thinks the woke ideology is dangerous to society, and this is what he said.
I mean, you have talked about this woke mind virus.
Yes.
In really apocalyptic terms.
Yeah.
You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide, and if we don't deal with this, nothing else can get done. Tell me why you think that.
I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic, and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech.
Elon goes on to explain that the woke ideology goes against the basis of freedom of speech because of people not being able to say their opinion regarding the woke ideology without getting canceled.
You know, those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous. Is that it's often anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even the questioning is bad. So, another way to almost synonymous would be cancel culture. And obviously, people have tried to cancel you many times.
Many times.
Yeah, I mean,
every week.
Yeah.
Which takes us to Piers Morgan's interview with a woke vegan. Piers starts off the interview by questioning the crazy vegan protest where the British Parliament was vandalized.
Well, hungry vegans targeted Big Ben today, spraying white paint outside the Houses of Parliament ahead of Liz Truss's first Prime Minister's questions. The Animal Rebellion protest group says the white paint symbolises milk and was intended to represent the destruction of the dairy industry. Also represents, of course, petulant vandalism and the destruction of a historic building.
He then starts the interview by asking this question.
Why would chucking paint all over Big Ben persuade someone like me to give up meat?
yeah, so as you and your viewers probably know, we're in a climate and ecological emergency at the moment. And so what we're doing is we're asking the government to support farmers and fishing communities in a transition to a plant-based food system, because we know that animal agriculture is a leading cause of the climate crisis. And so if we transition to a plant-based food system, we can free up vast amount of land in the UK, we can rewild and we can draw carbon down.
Okay, look, that's all fine. That wasn't my question. My question is, why does chucking paint over Big Ben persuade me, who already likes eating meat? Why are you going to persuade me by being a vandal?
The woke vegan guest is not able to answer the question that is being asked, but just circles around the question instead.
Yeah, I think we're in an incredibly difficult position at the moment, because we've been...
Why are you making it any easier?
Because we've been trying to talk about these things now for a very long time. And so we're at a point where we need to escalate protest so we can gain more media attention on the subject. And
I don't know anyone you persuade. I haven't heard anyone go, you know what, I was a meat eater and I saw Big Ben being desecrated, this great monument of this country, and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'm going to go and give up meat and start eating gruel. I haven't heard a single human being say that. Why would they?
Piers then continues the interview with some other questions. After dodging the first line of questioning, Piers asks her if she eats almonds and avocados, and this is what she says.
I eat...
Do you eat almonds? Do you drink almond milk? Eat almonds?
I think you're digressing from the big issue.
I'm just curious what you eat. Do you eat almonds?
I'm here to talk about the climate crisis.
Answer my question. Do you eat almonds or drink almond milk?
30 million people in Pakistan...
Do you drink almond milk?
...have been affected by severe floods.
Do you drink almond milk?
I drink plant-based milk.
You do. And do you eat avocados?
I eat a plant-based diet.
Do you eat avocados?
We're asking the government...
Do you eat avocados? Yes?
A leading study from...
Do you eat... It's an interview. You don't just answer different questions. Do you eat avocados?
I eat a plant-based diet, which
is... Do you eat avocados?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Piers finally manages to get her to answer his simple questions he has asked throughout the interview, which leads to this.
Great. Do you know how avocados and almonds get made?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yes.
So you realise that in California, every year, for 6 weeks, they fly in billions of bees to create your almonds and avocados, and in that process, several billion bees get murdered. This is a bee. Right? That's a bee. That, last time I checked, is a living animal. Billions get slaughtered so that you, sitting here, pontificating in between smashing up our buildings so that you can have your almonds and your avocado. And I say to you, Why don't you care about the little guys?
Can I say that the
It's total hypocrisy, isn't it? You don't care about bees being
Will
murdered?
you let me speak, Pierce?
Huh?
Will you let me speak? I'd really
Why are you
like to
laughing?
respond.
It's not funny.
I'd like to respond.
Bees getting slaughtered and you giggling away like it doesn't matter whilst destroying buildings because you care so much about animals. You don't care about the little guys.
Piers made sure to get his point across in a perfect way, like in this next clip where Charlie Kirk and Vivek destroys a woke student. Charlie and Vivek went to a college to speak with American voters about different topics. Then this woke student approaches the mic and says this.
Do you feel proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself? Hold on. You're 30 years old. We can agree you're 30 years old, right? Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm
Oh,
a
so
registered
I
voter.
vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today.
This interaction gets more and more heated. You can see that the woke student is very angry and is unable to have a civil conversation.
Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
Well, no, you could see. Look how popular Trump is on your campus. How does that make you feel?
They start off by talking about abortion. She claims that Charlie's opinions are dangerous for society, but then Vivek takes over the conversation.
I
Mike?
think that you push a dangerous agenda.
Such as?
Your stance on abortion rights, for example.
Okay, so
Let me ask a question. What is your name?
Gene.
Gene. And what is your understanding of the current Republican Party's stance on federal intervention in abortion?
Well, I know that they want to bring it back to the states, right?
So it sounds like you do know that the Republican Party's current stance on abortion is they're against a federal ban on abortion.
I do
And we're
understand
talking about
that,
a
yes.
presidential election as the
Yes.
important election that we're talking about here.
I understand that, yes.
Great. So, again, I think this open dialogue is great. I think it's great you're here challenging Charlie, and I think it's great that he's willing to travel campuses across this country to talk to the next generation. We need more conversation. Now, where's the disagreement, though, on content? Because you could criticize style or why you're talking to people
Listen,
or dunk on someone personally, but where do you actually disagree with
I
the
agree
substance?
with...
Even though Vivek asks her a brilliant question to be able to have a civil conversation, she still continues to attack them for different reasons and just ignores the question.
the way that you edit content and specifically frame it so that people look bad talking to you. The way that you edit your content.
We post unedited content.
Let me just ask you one thing though, because personal insults can fly in all directions. Where is an area where you have a disagreement with the conservative movement, with Donald Trump, with Charlie Kirk, perhaps with myself? I was a presidential candidate last year. I think we need to talk about that more in the open, and the more we do, the stronger our country is going to be. We got a long line of people, but I want to hear from you one substantive area where you have an authentic disagreement, and I'd be glad to address it. I'm sure Charlie would too.
Just in anything.
Relating to any political topic where you have a disagreement. Let's air it.
Okay.
Later in this conversation, she tries to get Charlie banned through nudity by pulling down her shirt.
Talking about. Can you be specific?
I'm sorry, I'm very nervous, but
Now let's move on from this madness. In this next clip, we have Ted Cruz destroying Human Rights Campaign president regarding women's sports and trans people being able to compete in women's sports.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
Ted Cruz asks Kelly Robinson if she thinks there is a difference between women and men, and it is impossible for her to answer the question.
what I can say here is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition
Okay, I'm
happened,
going to try again.
the rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is
but
that
I
a
also
yes?
think
So I'm
that
trying to
when
get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech.
we're-
Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're
which
not
is
answering
different
that.
than-
After trying to get a simple yes or no answer from her, he proceeds to ask her a different question, which leads to this.
Let me
gender.
ask you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is
My
different
question,
than gender.
why
and I do
do-
believe
why
that
do
women's sports have a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right
Ms.
now.
Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But
I mean,
why have a
we talked
separate
about it here
category for
today.
women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.